Sandra wonder why. Let her drink.
Just want to make sure that we are all queued up because I would want to obviously remind you that this is a virtual experience. So the attendees who are with us virtually would want to ensure that they are fully queued. We can go? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to beautiful Barbados. Welcome to the National Botanical Gardens. This morning, we are staging the ceremony which brings an end to an event which took place in January 2020. And this will take the form of some brief messages and also the tree planting ceremony. And of course, I will make mention of that as we go on. I want to take particular attention in recognizing the Minister of Environment and National Beautification, the Honorable Adrian Ford. I also recognize Director of Public Affairs, Pat Paris, Senator Rommel Springer, and Barbadian dendrologist Nigel Jones. We also would want to acknowledge and recognize the presence of the Chair of the St. Andrew Parish Committee, Tricia Henry. To you who are here with us virtually, we also take great pleasure in recognizing you, and so I make mention of Consul General, the Honorable Sonia Marvell Carter, and High Commissioner to Canada, Honorable Glenn Clark. And to those Barbadians who are also joining us, we take great pleasure in welcoming you. Today is a sunny day and an equally beautiful day in Barbados. And with the distance, I am sure your hearts will be warmed as you certainly take great pleasure in enjoying the view that is the National Botanical Gardens and all that it has to offer. I'm Antoine Williams. In January 2020, the launching of the We Gathering initiative in Canada took place, and that was a large event with a number of individuals, Barbadians, who were certainly part of the activities. There were a number of activities also being staged, and the Barbadian Association in Canada competed to see who could produce the best depiction of their assigned parish in what is named We Gathering for the Love of BIM. We Gathering for the Love of BIM. Now that's Bajan if you ever heard it. And the associations challenged each other to see who could win the best parish booth. There were 11 teams, and each team made up of an amalgamation of members of associations. And the Barbadian diaspora generally, they were all given a booth, and following the rules, they designed it to depict the parish they had assigned. St. Andrew were the winners at the end of the night, and the prize was a trophy and a tree to be planted in their honor in Barbados. And this tree planting part of the prize was also to advance the Prime Minister's initiative of having 1 million trees planted by December 2020. Well, of course, we know that COVID came and we've had to make a number of changes, but that will not deter us. And so we continue with that effort. And so this morning's tree planting exercise is a sign of things to come. And we know in Barbados, we certainly make good use of the slogan, trees save lives. And so this morning is an excellent idea as far as the continuation of tree planting. That, in a sense, is the preamble as to why we are here this morning, so we welcome you. Now, part of the exercise was also recognizing a Barbadian who left this realm. And this morning, I take great pleasure in highlighting and recognizing Shernell Ford, a relative of that young lady, sorry? Shernell Jordan, who is a relative, and I now invite Shernell to offer remarks and just paint the picture as it relates to that individual's life and how we and why we are here this morning. And I should also note that one of the trees will be planted in the individual's honor. Shernell?
Good morning. My uncle called me on Friday to allow me to know that he had won a competition in Canada and had entailed him planting a tree. And of course, he couldn't be here, so he asked me to do it on behalf of him. He asked me to plant this tree in my aunt's name, his sister, Sharon Hoyt. She had Down syndrome, and she was the queen of the family. So it's an honor to be here today to represent the Hoyt family to plant this tree on behalf of Sharon, who died in June of this year. Knowing that her memory will live on, I am happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The connection between the Barbadian community, Barbadian government, and the diaspora, that connection is very important. And so now I invite Consul General Canada, Sonia Marvell Carter, to offer her message. And this will be done via stream. And we certainly would want, as I say, to welcome her as she brings us her message.
Good morning. High Commissioner. Minister, the Honorable Adrian Ford, Director of Public Affairs, Patricia Paris, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Ramel Springer, General Manager of the NCC, Mr. Alves, other officials from the ministries, NCC, specially invited guests, those watching via live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to be able to say a few words at this tree planting ceremony this morning. But please forgive me as I am recording these remarks, so I'm unsure as to where they will be placed. I hope I am not preempting anything to be said or repeating anything already said. But I would have been an integral part of the Regathering 2020 launch here in Canada and saw firsthand how much work the associations did during that launch and how they jumped at the opportunity to depict the parishes and displaying to the hundreds of people there what Barbados and their parish in particular had to offer. On this occasion, the St. Andrew team was victorious and they won the Best Parish Booth competition. We are happy that this very fitting prize of a tree being planted in their honor has now come to fruition. We hope that over the years, as you visit Barbados, you visit the Botanical Gardens and ensure your family and friends do as well. That's to all the Bajan Canadians and Canadian Bajans. Also, Mr. Mark Hoyt, who is the president of the Barbados Canada Association and the vice president of the Barbados Ambassadors Association. He stood out for having sold the most links to the virtual Independence Gala on Saturday evening. And the proceeds from that gala are in aid of the Department of Emergency Management there in Barbados. Mark chose to honor his little sister Sharon, who passed away earlier this year, by having the tree planted in her memory. Sharon was a Barbados Olympian, and she represented Barbados at the Special Olympics in Bocce. And when I arrived in Canada, she was one of the first people I met at events. It was only after a while that I realized she didn't live here permanently. In closing, I want to thank the Barbadian associations here in Canada for continuing to fly the flag high and continuing to support Barbados and Barbadians. Even as we speak now, over 1 million masks, a shipment of over 1 million masks is headed to the QAH, and this was facilitated by a Barbadian association here in Canada. I also want to thank the St. Andrew team and congratulate them. I want to thank Director Paris for ensuring that St. Andrew got their prize, as she came to Canada to judge the competition, so she knew what great work had been done. She was there and saw it firsthand. Of course, I want to thank all of you at the Ministry of Environment and the NCC, and I would wish to thank Minister Ford for agreeing to plant these trees in honor of the Bajan Canadians. Thank you.
Good morning to all. Minister Adrian Ford, Director Pat Paris, General Manager Mr. Alves of NCC, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to associate myself today with the tree planting exercise. Trees are a source of life, and they have lasting memory for all of us. I still remember the first tree I climbed as a toddler at Rose Hill in St. George, and a tree under which I ate my lunch as a primary school child at St. George Rectory. Today, we are dedicating this tree planting exercise in the memory of Sharon Nadine Hoyt, who passed away earlier this year. I never met Sharon, but it is my understanding that she was really a sweet and special person who loved life. She enjoyed sports and traveling to Canada to spend time with her brother and the other family members. To Mark Hoyt, who has so gracefully given up his prize to his sister, I say well done. This is truly love. Love for your younger sister, who was very special to you and many. This tree will be watered and cared for. It will grow to be a big tree, and generations to come will definitely admire its beauty and shape. I believe that the idea of dedicating trees to family and loved one is a commemorable one, and I wish that more persons can come forward to do so for family and friends. I also wish to thank the St. Andrew Committee here in Toronto, who won the Best Parish Proof competition in last year's competition. I wish that other committees representing the various parishes can do so in the years to come, and I hope that this become an annual exercise. I want to thank you.
We offer special thanks to Consul General Sonia Marville Carter and also High Commissioner.
High Commissioner Glenn Clark, here with me in cold Canada. Minister the Honourable Adrian Ford, Director of Public Affairs Patricia Paris, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education Dr. Rommel Springer, General Manager of the NCC Mr. Alves, other officials from the Ministry, NCC, specially invited guests, those watching via live.
Yes, we thank both Consul General Sonia Marville Carter and High Commissioner to Canada, the Honourable Glenn Clark, for not only their messages shared with us this morning, but also for their full involvement in that exercise. St. Andrew are the winners. And I would want now to just share with you the names of those who are part of that full complement. Team leaders, Sylvester Hunt and Mark Hoyt. The booth designers, Noreen Grant, Jennifer Grant, Amos Grant, Alfred Grant, and Maureen Grant. That's the entire Grant clan. And then we have Patrice Ben, Tracy Grant, and Sylvester Hunt. Those are the booth designers. And the booth host and hostesses, Valerie Johnson, Jamoki Johnson, Herbie Vaughn, Caroline Hartley, Joan Hines, Glendine Hunt, and Simeon Benjamin. So we give them our applause for their hard work and, of course, coming out on top. And I know that the parish ambassadors and the entire parish committee, they too would have been involved in that exercise. Another individual who's also involved, even though they were not there physically, would have been Senator Rommel Springer. And his heart is certainly warmed by all that takes place in St. Andrew, its development, its history, its heritage, and all that is to come. And so now I invite Senator Springer to offer brief remarks.
Thank you. Pleasant good morning to all assembled and those within the virtual space. As I stand here and reflect on the victory of the St. Andrew team in Canada, I am overcome by two emotions, that of pride and happiness. Certainly, I'm happy for Team St. Andrew for continuing that culture of excellence that I'm sure was nurtured by their upbringing in the beautiful parish of St. Andrew. I'm also happy that even overseas, St. Andrew represents what is perhaps the best example of the pristine beauty that characterizes Barbados. It is perhaps what every person living in the diaspora believes or still remembers about Barbados. That beauty. I saw the booth, I saw the depiction, and it reflects the green hills, the rolling hills, the valleys, you know, that aspect of our cultural heritage, the windmill. Things that we as Barbadians, regardless of where we were born or what part of Barbados we live, we still feel proud of. And I think if you go through St. Andrew today, you still see examples of that beauty, still in its pristine form. So that's why I'm happy, and that's why I'm filled with pride. Additionally, the symbolism of this morning's tree planting event is not lost on me. In fact, it reminds me of a story that I often tell when I speak to audience about a small hummingbird in the jungles in Africa, where there was this large fire that scared all the animals and they ran out of the jungle. And the only animal, the only thing that turned around was the hummingbird, which went to the nearest watering hole and it took a little bit of water in its beak and it went back to the forest and it dropped that water and it tried to put out that fire. And those bigger animals, the elephants, the lions, who could carry a lot more water, they just watch. And they asked the hummingbird, but why you, such a small, tiny little bird, believe that you can put out this fire? And the hummingbird replied, I am doing what I can. I'm doing what I can. Now today we find ourselves in a different situation where we are experiencing global warming. Where now it's the trees that will save the earth. So when we plant a tree, even if it's just a tiny little tree and it's planted by just one individual, that tiny little tree is doing just that tiny little bit to save the earth, which someone may say may be on fire. May not be on fire in the true sense of the word, but it's certainly heating up. So this morning, this tree planting ceremony is a lot more than just celebrating a victory. It is us as a people, us as a nation doing our little bit, doing what we can to save this beautiful earth that we all love and we all enjoy living in. Save this beautiful country, which is, as the Prime Minister often says, is on the front line of climate change. So, having said that, I just want to take this opportunity once again to congratulate Team St. Andrew for their victory. Team St. Andrew for showing the world, in a sense, what St. Andrew means to them, what St. Andrew means to Barbados, how beautiful St. Andrew is. Continue that culture of excellence up there in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ramel. You spoke about, of course, your excitement as far as St. Andrew is concerned, and we would certainly want to encourage the Barbadian Association in Toronto to continue their good work and also their good way of showing how connected we are in spite of the distance. Trees save lives. That is a slogan that the Minister of Environment and National Beautification, that is where he has a passion for that to resonate all across Barbados. And seeing that we have a virtual audience, we want that to also resonate to all Barbadians, whether you're in Toronto, on Ottawa, wherever you are, Canada, USA, wherever you are, we want you to take great note that trees do save lives. And that is part of an initiative which has also been launched by the Minister of Environment and the entire complement, Clean and Green complement, where we are beautifying Barbadian landscapes, Barbadian open spaces in every constituency in Barbados. And it ties in well as we continue to speak about climate change, as we continue to speak about the importance of biodiversity. And so now, here to offer his remarks and certainly to show his connection with Barbados, Barbadian environment, and the diaspora, I have great pleasure in inviting Minister of Environment and National Beautification, the Honorable Adrian Ford, to offer his remarks.
A pleasant good morning to one and all. I want to thank Mr. Anton Williams, and most of y'all in Canada would know him as Brother Daddy Williams. That is a Bajan name that has successfully gone beyond the shores of Barbados. Let me take this opportunity as well to thank and congratulate, of course, our brothers and sisters in Canada for keeping that virtual connection to this country, understanding the space that we are in. Of course, let me recognize and acknowledge the High Commissioner, Mr. Glenn Clark, the Consul General, Ms. Sonia Marvel Carter. Let me take this opportunity as well to welcome this morning and to also acknowledge Mr. Rommel Springer. I want to acknowledge as well Ms. Pat Paris and every single person in earshot. Forgive me if I left out anybody. I want to make special mention and pay homage today to Sharon for her spirit, that altruism, that spirit that I spoke to Barbados about in the whole thrust of tree planting, the spirit of never die, never give up, never acquiescing to defeat when it comes to being who we are. And I want to let her know that when we plant this tree on her behalf, in recognition, of course, of her hard work and dedication to effort, that tree, there's a saying in our tree planting mantra that speaks to a small seed becoming a future tree which will protect and save the lives of many. And when we plant that tree in her honor, it is significant as it relates to protecting other person's lives and being the parent for many and many a generation. And today I want to pay special homage to that young lady. But what is important about our tree planting? When the Prime Minister spoke in 2019 about planting 1,000,000 trees. And this government's trust as it relates to ensuring that there is a green environment, a green carbon sink. What did that really mean for Barbados? Some saw it as an exercise of political imagination. I, for sure, and this entire government, saw it as the one thing that will save the lives of Barbados, that will save the lives of our biodiversity, that will save our ecosystems. And as she exposed to the entire world at COP26, the importance of having this green carbon sink as our mitigation factor as it relates to climate change. A very important aspect of trees. Something that the scientists now in the exosphere in Mars are looking to do that which the trees do on a natural basis, remove the carbon dioxide and find alternative use for it in a recyclable way. They're now doing an experiment called MOXIE in the exosphere, in Mars, where they are looking to recover the carbon dioxide and convert it to oxygen. This is what trees do on a natural basis. They remove carbon dioxide, the harmful carbon dioxide. And when we say that we will plant 1,000,000 trees, that is 48 million pounds of carbon dioxide being taken for the atmosphere. Barbados, as a small island developing state, we say to the rest of the world that we are going to be the leaders as it relates to our mitigation and adaptation efforts as in our climate change fight. That is what we said. And so we started a journey. I must say today, we have planted about 300,000 trees. Albeit that we are faced with the most arid conditions, albeit that there was the COVID pandemic and the lockdowns, we have stand fast in our whole determination and goal to ensure that Barbados have a green economic recovery. And we signal to the rest of the world with our commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals and to ensure that the United Nations General Assembly's call is answered by this country as it relates to land, life on land, and life in the ocean. What we are doing with our ocean restoration, our seabed, our marine flora, and equally what we are doing with our green carbon sink. So I want to say that planting trees, and I want to locate my conversation now to the Botanical Garden. It is the most natural oasis in the Western Hemisphere, the most beautiful oasis in the Western Hemisphere. Not taking away what Ramal would have said about beautiful St. Andrew. I was born there too, so I understand the rustic, idyllic state of St. Andrew. And I would not deny that it is as equally beautiful as Christchurch, where I am the city MP for the epicenter. But that being said, the Botanical Garden is a natural oasis. It is a fulcrum for tree planting. We are going to have biodiversity at its best. There is going to be scientific and research being done in this facility like never seen before. Over 500 acres, including the National Botanical Garden, of course, and the International Botanical Garden, because we understand there must be an international trust to what we do. And we must be leaders as it relates to the rest of the world and as it relates to our whole tree planting and our whole engagement in the tree planting exercise. So we are going to have a number of gardens as it relates to the scientific gardens, the fruit gardens. We are going to have a lot of ornamental, herbal, medicinal. There is going to be a wide selection of gardens that represent who we are as a country. And all I want to say to Barbadians, and I want to repeat the axiom that Anton started out with, trees save lives. And I want you to remember that every single tree you plant, you are saving the life not only of the current generation, but of the unborn child as well. So I want to thank the active participants in Canada, our brothers and sisters, for reaching out to ensure that they too have a voice and be part of this important exercise as we look forward to increasing our green carbon sink and ensuring that Barbados survives the test of time as we build forward better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Ford, for your kind remarks and, of course, the reminders as to what we are doing here in Barbados. Here in Barbados, across the areas of environment and national beautification, and, of course, here at our national treasure, the National Botanical Gardens. And here's an invitation for you who are joining us in the virtual audience to also be a part of this treasure. And any form of connection, any assistance, whatever you may want to do to claim your ownership, your part, and your sense of pride, I am sure that the Barbadian government and Minister Ford, part of that team, would welcome such. At this point, I would want to offer my personal acknowledgements as Master of Ceremonies to all who have been involved in this morning's exercise. Of course, we recognize Minister Ford for taking his time to be here this morning. Director of Public Affairs, Pat Paris, who've been instrumental and who brought this to us, who invited us to be part of this morning's exercise. The entire St. Andrew complement, Senator Rommel Springer, Shernell Jordan, the chairman of the St. Andrew Parish Committee, Tricia Henry, and the full St. Andrew team, we also thank you. We also would want to thank Consul General Sonia Marvel Clark and High Commissioner to Canada, Carter, and High Commissioner to Canada, Glenn Clark, for being here with us, but who also took the lead, not only in this morning's exercise, but also in the regathering initiative and being a part of that. To all of you, we offer special thanks. Our tree planting exercise will now take place, and this is where I am pleased also to offer thanks to our dendrologist, Nigel Jones, who have indicated to us the type of tree planted and the reason as to why that type of tree, or rather those types of trees, are planted. And I'm sure that in years to come, when you come to Barbados, when Barbadians here would, and of course I know the St. Andrew compliment, will see that tree bloom, those trees bloom, and will feel good, or I would want to say feel fussy, that this is part of who we are. Mr. Jones has indicated that the two trees planted, they are the avocado and the golden apple. And why avocado and golden apple? He made a call, and that individual responded and said to him that in Canada, the avocado, the golden apple, the breadfruit, those are important staples. Barbadians enjoy them and, of course, feel as though they are at home. And I need not tell you the breadfruit is part of the Bajan pudding sauce. So that certainly offers a good taste. So we will now leave this area, and then we will venture over to the other side. Mr. Jones, I will invite you to direct the proceedings at this point in time. The first tree will be planted by Minister Ford, and the second tree will be planted by Shernell Jordan, and we would have heard as to why Shernell is planting that tree. So those of you who are with us virtually, you can also follow us and be present at this time of our program. So I invite you, please, to go over to the exercise area where we'll be planting the tree. 1, 2. All right, so we are here now, and the first tree, as I noted, will be planted by Minister Ford. And the first tree being planted is the avocado, and that will be planted by Minister Adrian Ford. And of course, witnessed by our live audience and our virtual audience. Thank you very much, Minister Ford. And the second tree now being planted in the memory of Sharon Hoyt, and this is being done by a relative of her family, Sharon Jordan. Thank you very much. This exercise is being done, or rather has been done in the Botanical Fruit Garden. And I know Barbadians will truly enjoy this. Again, we want to thank Minister Ford for his contribution. And we also want to thank Sharon Jordan as she planted the tree in memory of her family. And to all Barbadians, let this be a reminder of the growth of Barbados. Let this be a reminder that Barbadians who have contributed to the Barbadian landscape, that this too will bloom in their honor. And let this be a reminder that Barbados is the gem of the Caribbean Sea, and we are as beautiful as our people and our landscape. Thank you very much. Do remember, trees save lives. I'm Antoine Williams. I thank you. There's some refreshment packages over on this tent, and you are invited to take one. And there's also beverage. Yes. Any vegetarian is also marked. So if you do